background. My name is Yunzhu, and I am an interactive engineer at TikTok. So today, one of my projects and what I'm going to do is I'm going to present you how to creating a AR fashion effect house. Previously, we had some of the, simple demo about how to drive the characters, but right now we are focusing on more, how to make the AR fashion really works in the effect house. Okay. So so today's agenda is pretty simple. We have 7 steps. So basically is we are going to introduce you how to do easy modeling. And I'm going to share with you the, the FBX that we created inside the Blender. And then we are going to share with you how to do the rigging using our standard and drag that into the effect house. And then the third part is how we easily use avatar drive component to, drive the closest, like the images on the left that you can see here. And then we are going to talk about how to use the material and texturing basically on the closest. And you can, if you can see clearly, we also add in some of the animation sequence, glitchy effects on the closest. That's what we also going to introduce that about. And next is like the things you can see the crystal are actually rotating. We are actually introduced how to create that using the time logic inside the graph system. So we are going to share with you. Eventually, we are going to share how to do some of the optimizations because I know some people encounter some of the difficulties by publish that. And then we are going to talk about that section too. And and we are going to leave several minutes for everybody if everyone has any questions. Feel free to write it down your name and the questions to the chat so that Miles and I will go through everything and then we will answer all the questions that we can answer. Yeah. Okay. Then we can start it. So the first one is the modeling. I guess everybody are actually have 2D or 3D skills for the modeling. If not, feel free to try the Sketchfab because you can download some of the awesome modeling stuff from there. Just one more thing is currently our effect house only support the FBX, GIF, and also OBJ formats for the 3D models. So also, we need to make sure your naming convention and the 3D model rig to a skeleton should be the same like the tracker things. So here is the images that you can see. We actually create sort of the hierarchy here and also the rigging name. If we want to rig the model and let's say the closest, we have to make sure you are parent the closest name to the rigged body. How you can download the rigged body is I actually added to, here so that you can see clearly by click on this. So if you look at the body avatar drive website, so the website actually provided you some of the assets that you can download it. First of all is the body avatar drive assets. So that's the simple one. And another one is under that, they have the body rigged templates. So feel free to download that. Once you download this one, and then you unzip that, you can see there is the FBX. And I'm going to share with you how to, check with all the stuff. So basically is you can do the import. This is the Blender. And once I choose the FBX, let's see, I'm actually in the downloading. The thing is called body rig templates. When I doing the importing, you can see this is the things that you can see here. And oh, it's actually same. I already opened one of the stuff. Maybe I can resite and redo it again. And then I can delete the previous cube and then doing the import. I believe everybody are pretty familiar with this kind of like stuff. And then we are choosing body rig templates. So all you can see is this model. When we do the rigging, let's say if you download or if you made a pants or a clothes, you can actually drag that to here, to around your body and do a little bit adjustment. And then maybe you can just like, play with it and bind it together. You can see the whole structure. Actually, the whole structure is, if you open that, you can see our actual structure is follow kind of like standards, which that I show in the slides. So basically, we need to change and all the names to something like hip, spine, and spine 1, spine 2, leg, shoulder, left shoulder, and right shoulder, something like that. So and I'm going to introduce you how to do some of the rigging soon. Okay. So that's the first step. If we go, next part is you might ask like how to do the rigging because you don't have the rigging experience about that. Actually, there are 3 different ways that I introduce for the methods. The first easiest way is you can definitely using the mixamo.com to auto rig some of the characters. And the first images is something like, like the UI interface about the Mixamo. Basically, all you can do is drag your characters to the website, and then you can see here some of the target. You can target the different area to the body. Follow those images, and then remember to choose the LOD to like smaller size, smaller rigging, just to avoid that you are not over 50 joints here. And then after that, you can click on legs, and then they will automatically generate the rig. After that is there have two different ways to rig it. So the first one, the second one is the Blender, which you can use Blender auto rigging. And also they have another one is inside the Maya. If you are using Maya, they also very easy by, I'm actually adding a link here. It's introduced a way, to do the quick rig. So no matter which one you rig, once you drag that to our effect house, it should be recognized everything. Yeah, so that's the rigging session. Feel free to leave the message and question if you have anything. We will answer that quickly. Yeah. Okay. And then the next one is the one that I scare the most because I always fail in the live demo. But I'm going to, present you some of the live demo, and also later on, I'm going to share with you some of the material texturing here. Okay. So let's start. Basically, is I'm going to, share with my open my effect house definitely, and I won't open the project that I already made, but I will start something from the beginning. I just create a project, and then I will show you some of the structure that I have. Basically is I prepare several assets. Maybe I can share, Miles and I will share with you the link later on. But basically is this is the FBX that we use for the crystal jacket. And inside this jacket, we actually adding a occluder as well as the clothes. And for the texture, we actually export that from the substance painter. And from the substance painter, we can export, as MRL, normal, albedo textures, as well as the environmental texture. And what else is we actually have one more, is called gloss texture. So those one is some of the animation sequence that we are going to, apply for the material. In terms of that is, you can see our texture side. For the material texture, I will introduce a little bit here and then started to the demo. So basically is we are using Substance Painter to draw the whole material here. And then we are also create an animation sequence, something like that, because you can see there is a very subtle things inside our t-shirts because we want to make our t-shirts more dynamic. That's why we add some of the animation sequence here, and we're using the blend mode to mapping that on the shirt. So I'll also introduce that to see how to do that inside our effect house. Okay, so let's start it. Basically is first step is I'm going to drag all the things to the effect house. How I can do that is pretty simple. I prepare the whole stuff and then I drag that to the assets panel. You can also by left click the file and then, or like add assets to import everything like from the computer. But I'm a little bit lazy, so I will directly drag in here. And then I will also drag my texture all the way to the assets panel. So they will automatically generate the albedo texture, environment texture, some textures like that. And like I mentioned, I also have some of the animation sequence. All I can do is I add in the assets, import as a texture sequence. So once I choose the texture sequence, I'm able to drag all the things here. So the supported type for this is PNG file, JPEG. So you can feel free to using all of the animation sequence and do the open. So you can see here, they already directly automatically generated this. Like this, the gloss texture. So you can see here, they have a gloss texture clearly here. And then you can also see the file size and duration. And also you can choose some of the compression type, something like that. Yeah. Okay. So the first step is I'm going to drag the FBX, and then I want to directly drag from the assets panel to hierarchy panel. Feel free to drag if you feel this is too large. This time I'm using the pivot, and then to directly drag this. Make sure you select everything. In that case, you can select all the same and drag that. So here is a little bit complicated because we actually under this we add jacket, and also we also have some of the button ribbons and also small crystal. And the small crystal is the one that we are going to do the rotation. And also under the pivots, we actually follow some of the naming standard. And also here, the plane glitch 1, 2, 3, 4 is the one that we want to apply our animation sequence. So I'm going to talk through that one by one. Let me know if you have any questions so that we can answer that. So the first step is we are going to drive that, and we want to drive that to the mapping that to the characters. Basically, it's pretty simple. By all we need to do is we add objects, and then we select AR tracking, and then here we have a body tracking, body avatar drive. So we create the body avatar drive, but right now it's not working until we parent all the whole FBX to the body avatar drive. So after that, you can see our panel, we already show up the characters has been driven by the characters. So that's pretty straightforward, right? And then what we can do is, if you don't like the size, or if you don't wish to, really let the things follow the mapping on your body, feel free to uncheck that, because basically you can adjust everything and do the match rigging for that. And after, let's say if I unfollow body position, I can play with the position and play with the rotation and transformation. But this time I'm going to, mapping that and follow body position. Okay, and the next step is I'm going to, creating a occluder material, because I wanna occlude out the whole FBX about my body. What I did do is I adding an assets by clicking on the add assets. So under the material, we have a default occlusion. So based on that, you can create a occlusion stuff on your body. So basically, I click on the occluder. Here you can see, and the mesh is where I actually having the whole stuff, and I wanna change the material to occluder. So once I change the occluder, I click on yes. So basically is they will actually occlude out your body. In the meantime, they will not show in your body here, the FBX. Okay. Let me see. Oh, Miles, feel free to read through some of the message, and we can go back to that and later and recap. And then the next step is I'm going to share with you the plan stuff, because I think that is worth to share that. So basically is we like the slides that we show is we actually want to mapping some of the animation sequence on the plane. How we can do that is also pretty simple. You can see here we have a material called standard service jacket. If we go back to the assets, so this is the service standard jacket that we are going to use. So basically, if we enable all the texture like albedo texture, normal texture, MIO, and also emissive texture, you can see this kind of things. The thing is because we didn't add the animation sequence yet. So how we can do that is adding component, and after adding component, we have an animation sequence. You can directly choose the animation sequence here. And you remember we import animation sequence already. So all we need to do is we choose the texture sequence. So here is the one that we imported, and we click on the yes. And you can see we didn't, share with anything here. That's because we didn't choose the target properties. So at this time, I'm going to apply that on our albedo texture. So when you choose the albedo texture, you can also choose some of the speed. For example, I'm choosing the speed from the 12 to 6 in order to make the animation sequence slower. And then I can do the things individually by simply choose albedo texture and the texture here. And you can see all the planes that I add for the animation sequence, they can automatically add in and map on your body. And also choosing the albedo texture one by one. And you might find it's a little bit different than what we expect. You can see the texture is actually dark color. That's the main reason is because we still need to adjust the blend mode. So how we can do the blend mode stuff is we can directly open the standard service jacket. And then under that, we have a render status. If you turn on the render status, you can see they have a different choices for us to choose. At this time, I will directly choose the blended mode, and you can play with different blend mode like the multiply and also overlay. In my scenario, I will choose the screen so that the screen will adding the screen blend mode to your body. So it's more like the lateral stuff, and then they will mapping out on your closest. And then for the closest, we actually follow the same step. But basically is you can see here, we are using a PBR shader here. So you can just like turning on all the emissive shadow control and also texture and the normal size, and mapping out some of the, like our normal MRL, something like that to here. So I will turn it on and opening another the templates that I already opened, because I already do some of the adjustment about the properties. Okay. So here is the one that I created here. So basically is I'm able to disable the blink because I don't want you to see the final outcome. But basically is I actually add in some of the things to the different meshes, and I'm using the different shaders and the material, and then adjust everything. So you can see here, if I open the material, the matcap shader, that's the things that I created. And also I adjust some of the material properties here to make it more real and more interesting to look. Okay, so that's basically the demo showcase that I'm going to share. And see, yeah, we actually adding some of the things, give a shout out to our designers and Henry and Sean to create the concept for the whole material. And the next one is we are going to show you how to using the timer to set up the rotating. Basically, what I mean is this kind of like graph. If I go back to the effect house, I'm going to delete all the things here and then start from the beginning. So here is the visual scripting that you can use the load based. Basically, I will delete it. And then once I delete it, you can see the small crystal are actually not rotating. So what we want to do is we actually want to use, we want to rotate in the small rotation. Let's see, for example, if we want to rotate it, you can actually rotate it in here, but that's actually not automatically. So what we want to do is we want to set up a using scripting node and then to set the rotation and then to, to something like to make the things rotation. So what we can do is we can add in some of the node called update and also start. And then this is the rotation that I create by simply click on this and then to do set rotation, and then they will popping up to here. So how we can do that is you can see our rotation is a vector 3. They have 3 different values. We are only want to control the y value. So what we want to do is we are actually using a timer. It's called time. We are using get timer, and then we are using the get timer, and basically doing that, we actually can doing some of the calculation about divided. And then you can see here, this is a number popping up, and you can see it might be too small in here. So I'm going to doing some of the multiply to make this larger. How we can do that is we can also do the multiply. And then let's see, imagine I give the number as a 30 so that they will calculate the value larger. And then, because you can see this is the float number, I'm also going to using a parameters, which is called combine. Basically is the combine, we can change that to vector 3, and we can connect this to all different nodes. So basically this time I will not connect to the X, but connect to the Y position. So after connect to the Y position, you can see here only Y position has been changed. And then this is already vector 3. And what I'm trying to do is I directly add the value to this value. So you can see this value already be changed. But the reason they are not rotating is because you need to set the update and connect the update to the set. And then when we rotate it, when we update it, you can see this already rotation. But if you want to make the speed larger, let's see if I give this like 50, the rotation will be more obvious about that. So you can see here, the crystal already started to rotate. If it's too small, you can also say I can set it to 100, something like that. So that becomes more straightforward and easy to see. Other than that is I'm also going to share with you some of the post-processing that we made. Basically is you can choose the things is called post effect. Under the post effect, we have a built-in stuff called bling. So once you click on bling, you can see they have a very large bling thing here. And feel free to adjust everything like the size, also the intensity, and the size rendering. Also, you can choose the speed and the color, something like that. Also, if you want to occlude out the face, you can also choose occlude face. So they will automatically occluding out that. Okay. And then once you feel ready, you can feel free to submit the effects, and then our QA system will go through this and then publish that successfully. So basically that's the demo that I want to show here. If you have any question, you can let us know. The last things I want to talk about and share some of the experience is the optimization. I know some people are talking about and share some of the concern in our channel. It's about even you optimize some of the stuff, you still feel are not able to publish that. So we are going to split out and then to do several split up in here. So the first step I would mention is trying to follow the technical document basically is we actually trying to limit your model to less than 100,000, because that polygons issues will increase the cost about reading all the performance. That's why we are trying to avoid that. And also, if you really want to rig that accurate your body, trying also to make sure your maximum joints is less than 50, and also the 4 max joint influences in here. And I would mention the texture resolution should be less than like 512 times 512 pixel. I think that's the easiest way that we can follow. In terms of material that you can see, we can either using some like MACAP or Unlit or PBR, but like you can see, the PBR is the one that caused too much performance issue, because the PBR stands for the physical rendering. That's why they have some of the lighting, reflection, something like that for the material will cost more time on rendering that. For the polygon reduction, if you already made something, like over exist like 100,000, you can also use some of the software to reduce the polygon. What I always use is I always use a Simplygon. App called Simplygon is I believe is from Microsoft. Basically, that's the software that you can drag the material and the FBX, and then they will automatically help you to do some of the reduction about the polygon. Yeah, and the last thing is trying to avoid some of the combo. I know some of you trying to combine body avatar with different things like hand tracking, matting, and also face filter, something like that. All I want to do is like trying to avoid that. Otherwise, you might feel the QA session. Yeah, I think that's basically is. So I will leave some time for the Q&A. Thanks everyone for joining the session.